I gotta play some stupid trendy music. Boom, 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 boom. And I gotta say a bunch of stuff. Boom, 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 boom. For the algorithm. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Okay, it's 33 degrees Fahrenheit here in the parking lot this morning. And I still have to click on horizontal because vertical is still recommended. You know, even though I've never used the vertical setting once. Well, I did once just because I didn't feel like stopping the stream and going back and changing it. Trump, Taylor Swift, Super Bowl. Um, sorry, algorithm speech there. Um, apparently, and I'm still listening to Mr. Tardis's video on this. One of our typical idiots, this one going by the name Will of the People. And if this guy knew half of what he thinks he's talking about, he might be dangerous. Don't bother watching football, American football. Why? Okay, before we get, I'm just going to make something clear. I have not watched or nor had any interest in any major sports in America in over a decade. Because frankly, it's not worth the time to even invest in it. Okay, I can't, like I said, the problem is, like I said with me, is I still can't figure out how a man carrying a football wearing a helmet into an end zone is making millions of dollars while the guy who's wearing a helmet carrying a machine gun into a combat zone is getting paid less, probably less than most of your school teachers. And school teachers aren't making enough either, especially given the fact that we are literally in a possible combat environment there now. Come on, poor teacher got the hell beat out of her for taking a guy's Nintendo Switch. All right, what about the Phoenix Lights? They've had that stuff going on down there for years, and the military still says it's flares. But okay, apparently, yeah, this guy went on a rant that was so much bullshit that even the Moff stepped in and said, you're full of it. And the problem is, there's only one way to get rid of these guys. You got to hit them in their pocketbooks. You can say anything you want. All you're doing is validating that they exist. And even I haven't learned that lesson yet, but I feel like I have to inform the general public that, yeah, these guys are morons. If it weren't for the internet, nobody would listen to them. And I'm not kidding. I rank these guys below the flat earthers. Okay, it's that bad. Oh man. So Moff had to step out and say, what? Really? Now the Phoenix Lights, all that kind of stuff, that's been going on for years. And yet the military, like I said, I died laughing because of the one incident. Those were just flares, and then hours later, military planes show up and start dropping flares. And the flares look nothing like what was seen earlier in the evening. But that way they could say, well, we had planes up launching flares. But your flares don't look anything like what you had up. The problem is there's a way called you have to be very careful here. Like I said, I'm a big free speech guy. Like I said, even though you may not agree with the stuff Gina Carano says, for example, but she's entitled to her opinion just like you, me, and anyone else is. Then I hope she does sue Disney, Paramount, and all them, because they operate on American soil and we have a thing called the First Amendment. You may not agree with what she says, but since when does that say, well, we felt your opinions reflected negatively on us, so now we can fire you? Then this is not, you know, a way call. This is not a rare thing. This is a problem. A lot of people now will not speak out on certain issues because they are afraid it will cost them their livelihoods. They're afraid to say certain things against certain people, against certain things. And like I said, or have opinions that are, not popular. And like I said, you don't have to agree with everything they say, but you just, we got, people have different opinions, whether you like it or not. But these guys have been trash talking. They can't even accurately report numbers. And just about everything they say about ratings dropping and plummeting is total bullshit. And at that point, you got to stand up and say, guys, the facts are proving you wrong. So why are you saying this? Oh. And usually when they're confronted on these points and all that, they'll try to stick to it. And then like I said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Just as I'm entitled to my opinion as well. Why do people keep asking me about the Mandalorian and stuff? The problem is this. A standalone movie, I'd prefer another series to a standalone movie. All right, it's, yay, Mandalorian and Grogu, good movie, yeah, but I'm like, I'd rather have a series than a couple-hour movie in which they're going to try to tie everything up. Oy vey. It's a strange world we live in. So that's why like I said, it's back to Gina Carano. Like I said, most people don't agree with what she says, but you shouldn't be fired based off an opinion. It may be the dumbest opinion on planet Earth, but you shouldn't be fired for it. Unless it's hate speech, and then you're going down a whole nother path, okay? Which it wasn't. Yeah, word's still drifting around about Little Millie and all that stuff, and I'm like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Based off what I've heard, based off the different things I've heard from people, off the record, so to speak, and I'm not going to quote them or say what they actually said. Like I said, I think she was being a diva, and I think they shit canned her. But that's my opinion. I don't know what actually happened. It could just as easily be that, she only wanted to be on for a certain amount of time, and she pulled the ripcord and said, "I'm out of here." But because there's been a lot of weird stuff that's happened in Doctor Who over the years. Like for years, they had people believing that Caroline John left the show, and this was an urban legend for a long time. And sad part is, it was the BBC who began the urban legend, if I remember correctly. And that was that, she quit the show because she was pregnant, and it wasn't true. Barry Letts, we find out years later, Barry Letts didn't renew her contract. She thought her character was too logical, basically too cerebral. Then Mary Tam left, and they said the same thing. She got pregnant, and she wanted to spend time with her kids. No, Mary Tam quit. And they never asked her back for a regeneration scene. And it's right there in her book. Like I said, if you haven't had a chance to listen to First Generation, there's an audiobook version out there that she narrated. It's her own autobiography. And she did the audiobook form before she passed. And she tells it in her own words exactly what happened. They basically said, no, you go, but we're keeping the character. She mainly decided to leave, actually, and said, no, she was the one who decided to leave. That's right, sorry. I got crossed over there. Because she felt the character of Romana was becoming the typical scream girl like all the other companions before. And that's not what she signed up for. And if you watch the Key to Time series, as that series progresses, that it is the case. Romana starts crying, screaming, and doing everything other companions had done before. And this was a trend that did continue for a bit when Lalla Ward took over. But okay, I just checked the time. Once again, look out. The stories out there all over Twitter about Moff stepping in and saying basically this particular guy is so full of crap that it's squeezing out his ears and his eyes are turning brown. Okay, so look around on the Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, X thing at that. Also, Mr. TARDIS has a video out about it, and I've just now started watching it, so maybe we'll talk about it a bit more as I learn more about that story, okay? Once again, don't believe just everything you believe in here. Go do some digging. Look for yourself. The answers are out there. The truth always hides in the shadows. Have a good one, everybody. Be kind, be calm, be safe. We'll see you on the flip side. Catch you all tomorrow.